the people affect the leader, and the leader affects the people.
Right. So it's ever in some way, because you say the fish stinks from the head, but in this case,
as Michael Dukakis said.
What? Did he?
Yeah, 1988.
Oh,
He got a lot of heat.
yeah. Well, but it's
This
true.
wasn't a great metaphor to think about.
Right. No.
The
But-
fish stinks from the head.
But it's it's true. It's funny because it's true, and but in this case, maybe the will of the people was stronger than the organizational talents or spiritual talents of Moshe. So he ended up absorbing their negative traits rather than vice versa.
Right. Okay, so what grabs you in this week's parsha?
I guess I was struck by what seemed to be God's motivation there, as I described, for I mean, he's giving us kind of a prediction. Like Monica said, this is this was contributed later, which makes sense. He's talking about all the terrible things that will happen, have happened, and okay, bye, Monica, I feel better. And and then he's explaining Israel will stray after all the good I do you. You get, you stray, and you get fat and coarse, and you think you no longer need me. So I'm kind of going to abandon you. Let's see how they do without me. So that's how a lot of relationships end. One person wants to see the other person fail, and then he changes his mind. He's going to change his mind because he doesn't want the goyim to get thoughts beyond their station. He doesn't want them to think that God is. God doesn't want to have the goyim to have a bad opinion of him.
Right.
Is what it comes down to, I think.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's why he's going to wreak holy vengeance on them. It's just, again, I mean, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but for someone like me, it's not what you expect, the kind of sentiments you expect to see when you read when I read scripture.
Yeah, I can't say that this text really speaks to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't speak to me either.
It's not natural. It's not easy for me.
No. One of the...
I read Philip Roth, and that's very easy for me.
Right. And look, supposedly Rev Avner, that Nachmanides had a pupil named Rev Avner, and who was a brilliant pupil, and then one day he left the synagogue and went off into Spanish society and became very successful. And then he told Nachmanides later, I left because you told me that Ha'azinu was that everything that ever was going to happen was predicted in there. And that sounded so stupid to me that I left. And where's anything about me in Ha'azinu? And supposedly Nachmanides showed him some gematria thing that Rev Avner's name was there, and it says he has to leave forever, and no one should ever remember his name. And then Rev Avner repented and realized everything's in Ha'azinu. But anyway, I tell this story only to say, it sounds like the rabbis were doesn't really resonate with me either. And I bet that story developed because it didn't resonate with a lot of people. And so when they started to complain about it, they said, listen to what happened to Rev Avner when he thought this was a stupid portion. Huh? He ended up, look where he ended up.
Right.
So you better like Ha'azinu. So if you don't see anything in there you like, find it.
So what are your favorite portions of the Bible? Like where it says love your neighbor?
No.
You prefer the parts where it says I will devour you?
I get sort of titillated by the parts that are just raw.
They predict I'll be begging for money soon. Yes, we're going to be doing a fundraiser at the end.
Yeah.
Pledge drive.
And that's it. As much as we knock you, we're just going to end up with another Chabad telethon here.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to be doing that little Russian dance and Luke will be admiring how great it is and asking you to reach deep. Yes, I'm a bit titillated by the raw kind of aggression that we see in a lot of the Holy Torah.
Right.
I'm intellectually interested in it. There are certain, every now and then it busts out with something that I find really incisive and meaningful to me. I mean, last week there was one, or I think it was or the last time we met, where they were, amidst all that roughness and kind of, there was talking about not getting falling too in love with your possessions and your cattle and so forth, lest you be sent back to Egypt. That really stuck with me. I mean, I thought that was really wise. I thought because
anti-materialism in the vulgar sense.
Well, but it wasn't. It wasn't. What it meant to me was not that there's anything wrong with cattle or possessions, but just that be careful what you fall in love with and what you base your identity on. And that was the warning to me. They say Mitzrayim can mean narrowness and kind of that. To me, the message, I guess, that you could get from it is that if you let yourself fall in love with the things you accumulate, then you're potentially consigning yourself to a narrow life and enslavement to material things, and that's not a great way to live.
So what can you fall in love with? Because everything can be taken from you,
right?
But God.
Yeah.
Like you can love jogging and that can be taken. You can love your wife and she can leave.
That's right.
You can love your kids and they can hate you. You can love your community. You can love the Chicago Cubs and they'll go 100 years now without winning it.
Right.
So you can love to write and you lose your ability. So, I mean, you're not a believer. So Joey, what can you fall in love with then? Because everything else can be taken away.
Well, you can. I mean, I don't want to get too yippy-dippy, but I do think that, like, when you love writing, it's not really writing you love. I mean, I've said before, if I was a quadriplegic, some people say, they'd want to be killed. I wouldn't. And my thing was, as long as I can read, like, I'm okay. Like, I'd still want to be around. I think you want to meet as many of your own needs internally and personally as you possibly can. And then you just got to be really careful what you love, I guess. It's sort of a conundrum, yeah.
Because like everything you love.
But the problem is if you
can lose.
Yes, but
except for God. He's the only thing you can love that you can't lose.
Yeah, but God is what? I mean, I could say,
you really.
What? Oh, I'm starting to sweat now. Well, you could say like, okay, fine, but then I could say I have an imaginary friend named Ricky Ricardo, Ricky Ricardo Jr. because he's not the same one that was on I Love Lucy. And I just love Ricky Ricardo Jr. I love him. And you know what? No one can ever take him from me because he's mine. Or not because he's mine, because I have because he's in my head. So who's going to take that?
So is that something that would, like, inspire you?
No, but I guess I'm saying, to me, it's epistemologically equivalent to love of God.
Right.
So I understand the trap. The trap is that, I mean, that's how all these outreach, if you talk to the Mormons, it's the same thing. They're pitching perfect love. Love that cannot be broken, love that cannot fail you, and love that cannot be ended. And that's what God is, But, look, if other people experience God and love Him, then more power to you. That's not in my experience. I mean, you have to love you. It is going to sound real cheesy, but you either have to love yourself or respect yourself or something. But something that you because really that's all you got. And then I'm married. I took marriage very seriously. We've been together 11 years, and we were going to fight through whatever we had to. So I guess a man picks a woman, and a woman picks a man, maybe.
So are you happy?
I mean, I think relatively, yeah.
What are you happy about? You unbeliever.
I enjoy a lot of stuff. I find life pretty fun. I guess I enjoy myself too. I do love my wife, as challenging as marriage can be. I wouldn't trade it. I like this. This is great. I mean, but also it can be great because I'm not coming to you with all kinds of needs. Let's say I came in here, and I just finished, I'm done with Juicy, and I don't know what my life is going to be about now, but here you're Luke with the Torah, and Luke, you're going to be my new life. Well, that's not going to work out for either of us, right? Like, so, you know, you don't want to come to people with a boatload of needs and say, oh, great,